LFG, this is Don Kryptonium, the greatest investor, the greatest crypto economist, and today we are going to discuss why DeFi might not be solution to the problem, why DeFi instead might be acceleration of the broken financial system and financial models that leads to the prolonged stagnation of economic activity and creation of the speculative bubbles. If you enjoy Don Kryptonium content, make sure to like this video because we are seed of change. We are the seed of thought. If you support this, like this video, join the discussion, and to show the support, delegate to Don Kryptonium on Cosmos, Juno, Nomic, Stargaze, and Stride. So you see, I left this tweet yesterday. The tweet could have made some people upset. DeFi is just so way worse than banks. Prove me wrong. So why I left this tweet? It's not necessarily that I'm in defense of the banks or against of DeFi, but let's define the problem with the current model, which is not really the banks itself, but it's the creation of the speculative bubbles. We could reverse back to the previous bubbles, like the Japanese bubble, early 90s, the housing market bubble of 2008, or the recent 2020 speculative asset bubble in crypto and the stocks. All of those things have the one thing in common: creation of money, not for the productive activities, and creation of the businesses that collaborates as the part of economic activity that creates to the growth, but rather the creation of money for the speculation. So when it comes to the previous Japanese crisis, huge money printing, and creation of the speculative bubble in the housing market and in the stock market. Many companies, Japanese companies, were making more money via the speculation than via the products they were creating. And it led to huge bubble that you can see the effect still today, 30 years later. Let's go to the 2008, as the banks get more centralized, the due diligence of the banks become less and less, and the issuance of the credit, the issuance of the money doesn't really support the people creating businesses, but you would read the stories like the strippers getting mortgages and buying 5 houses. Does it create the benefit? Does it benefit the community? And does it create economic activity? Not really, but rather created the speculative bubble of the housing market. So you didn't really see the very rapid economic growth, but rather growth in prices, acceleration of those few that benefited through this bubble. Let's move now to 2020. We got COVID, which crushed the economic activity. The governments wanted to save it and encourage people to spend the money and encourage people to continue creating maybe the businesses. And what it resulted? It resulted in the creation of the money, creation of the debt, and rewarding people with the cash. It would be all good if this cash would be spent on the live means. But this cash, this help to companies and to the people were used for speculative purposes and buying meme coins and the stocks. And, it would be probably hard to prove me wrong when you look at the stock market, acceleration of the wealth of likes like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, because everyone started speculation of the asset, while the regular people did not really benefit that, but those classes in power benefited from speculation on these assets, yet we failed to see any economic growth during this period, right? So this is what creates. And the problem here is concentration of power and centralization of the money, removing due diligence and encouraging local communities investment for improving their lives. Okay, so let's now move to DeFi. And sorry, like that, it's such a long introduction. There is some comments, and so the banking sector uses more energy. The banking, that's what's wrong about using energy. The banking, I understand, more efficient, but read this. Banking sector hires thousands of people, which don't need to exist on top of building all the storefronts and marble running the lights 24/7. Removing this bank middleman, you are concentrating the power of the issuance of the money. You are making the system more centralized and less community driven. It's not about these communities anymore, but it's about everyone has the access to one source of the investment, one step of the investment, okay? Neil said, yes, it's extension of what is wrong with the traditional finance system. Remarkably ironic considering its roots, but maybe the fate of every revolution at least. I saw someone said unfollowed. That's harsh. I can tell you that DeFi and the laws of DeFi make also system very effective, right? Because you get liquidated. But if you look what happened with the DeFi loans, ask yourself the question: how was the DeFi loans used in 2021? The DeFi loans were used, and you were openly encouraged by the DeFi protocol, lend the money, earn the yield. As you lock the money, you can do collateral with this, and you can use it to earn another yield. What you were encouraged to not take money and create the productive means, but you were encouraged to speculate more and more, and that resulted in mass liquidations later. It doesn't generate the growth of the GDP or anything. It only generates the growth of the speculation and leads to the bubble. Okay, so we will try to think of this of this solution. Because could DeFi serve to the local communities? And I also want to touch on the stable coins. I made the bet that probably USDC will become the largest stable coin, and probably we will have just few major players that is driven by Wall Street. I'm not saying it's bad or not. I'm trying to present you where it actually leads. But my bet is that the stable coins will be more meaningful than the Bitcoin because of the convenience of the people. But what it leads, a circle, and it all. If the crypto gets adopted, nearly all the centralized financial systems will be controlled by very few players that will be probably backed with the banks, and brings this centralization and the loan issuance on speculative assets even more. I even had the comment here that DeFi is great because it lets people from underprivileged places that have no bank, give them access to American stock market. Think how ridiculous is that opinion that the person in Somaliland will have access to American stock market. Let's say they have money, okay? Let's say they have money. It actually only, like this person said, it's great if all world will start speculating on the American stock market, okay? Let it settle. So there was few articles, I tried to find how the loans are used. So DeFi is potentially one of the most compelling use cases for cryptocurrencies, as it enables the execution of any business logic on chain in a transparent, trustless manner. Yes, indeed. But it also removes that, the middlemen, and lead you, so person in Somaliland, directly to the money issuer, right? So this is the problem that I was saying. And here is the interesting, Maker, and Maker actually made a partnership with Community Bank, right? So as we consider, is the banks are wrong, or are the banks bad? It doesn't have to be bad, but I see also, some other protocols that are driven by community. So my question is, is there a chance of creating the ecosystem of DAOs that are DeFi DAOs also, governed by DAOs? And can these DAOs or protocols serve the certain smaller communities and encourage them for, and these communities, instead of building the speculation on top of speculation, encourage to benefit those communities and drive the economic activity that would move the world forward, right? So Maker, for example, made partnership with this Huntington Valley Bank, and this is old bank, but this is actually like this bank is it's actually this it's smaller bank, right? So let's read what it says here. A community bank in Philadelphia. The protocol announced today. It was a while ago. It was August. The protocol announced today its formal offering to the bank of 100 million DAI, which is the stable coin. It's also mainly backed by USDC, but it depends on the period of the time. So this loan will be mainly used for, let's see, where was it? Sorry for that. So that's a break. But I think for purchasing of the bonds or something like this. But I wonder, can these protocols that issue stablecoin do partnerships? Because that's actually a solution. You would say, hey, that's actually not what the crypto meant to be. But these DAO protocols, DeFi protocols, should make the partnerships with the local communities on ground and give them access to the financial assets to fund their ventures on the ground, okay? But I don't see crypto is going there. So, for example, I want to give shout out to Region Network that I do not understand, but I try to think and I see this work for the small communities, and I think this is the in the spirit of the cosmos, right? Because Ethan Buchman said the blockchains we should have this ecosystem of thousands or million blockchains that serve the small communities. And I think the solution is really going back to the communities, to the tribes, instead of accelerating this globalization, despite what would seem like, hey, this is good, removing the middleman because we accelerate, but this acceleration is actually reversing the economic growth and accelerating the speculative growth, which is not good. But if you can create the chains, and I believe the DAOs, maybe even powered by NFTs, which I see more, the DAOs and NFTs more than the chains, powering the small communities. So let's say the region do the work in certain region that is unbanked via the regenerative works. They have to fund these operations, right? Can then the DAO focused on this operation onboard the financial access to the community to encourage the ventures that benefit economic growth of the small local community, right? So you actually, this is actually not removing the middlemen, but DAOs becoming the middlemen to benefit the communities and give them economic growth instead of gaining access of those unbanked to the American stock market and increasing speculation. I think that's what I wanted to say. Another boring video, right? But this is the solution to DeFi, and this is what I meant by this. DeFi, it seems to be going in the wrong part. Hopefully, it will be going into the communities, and building the better life for the communities. Don Kryptonium's out. Thank you, Crypto for watching.